it,
Mhm.
I would ask them, what does trust mean to you in a relationship? I'd send them out of the room, get them to do it one by one and write it down in their handwriting so they knew that I wasn't making it up. And they give me an example of how you know that you can trust your partner. And almost without fail, the woman would say, well, when he goes out, he calls me, he lets me know where he is, he lets me know that he's safe, he lets me know he's having a good time, and he keeps me updated when he's going to be home.
Right.
Okay, cool. And then she goes out, the guy comes in, like, okay, how do you know that you have trust in a relationship? Oh man, when I go out, she doesn't call me, she doesn't bother me, she lets me go do my own thing. Like, they're completely different, man, like complete opposites. And they wonder why, like, oh, but we both want trust in a relationship. Yeah, but trust means completely different things to you. Like, it's complete polar opposite.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our mission is to ignite your passion and help you live your best audacious life ever. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, sharing insights and inspirations that can empower you to break free from the limitations of life and embrace the bold choices that are out there for all of us. I truly appreciate you for spending just a bit of your time today. I know there's so much that be pulling you in different directions, distractions. So I appreciate that you've given us here on this podcast, and I hope you find the conversations we have here to be both enriching and transformative. Now, imagine you're walking through a dense forest where the trees are tall and the path is often obscured by shadows. You know, this forest represents the complexities of our relationships and the biases that can cloud our judgment. Now, just like the branches that can block your view, these biases can oftentimes distort our perception of trust that we have in others. In this journey, it is so crucial to recognize the trust trap, the tendency to overlook the red flags that are in front of us because we've placed someone on a pedestal, truly believing that they're inherently trustworthy. Now, understanding this trust trap is essential because it leads us to confront the painful reality of self-betrayal. When we ignore our instincts and dismiss the signs of potential betrayal, we compromise our overall well-being. You know, this is where the concept of radical responsibility comes into play. Now, by taking ownership of our feelings that we have and the choices that we make and our individual responses, you know, we empower ourselves to foster much healthier relationships. Open and honest communication is definitely a key that helps us to navigate this forest because it really allows us to express our concerns as well as those deep-rooted feelings that we have, ensuring that we remain aware of the path and all the potential pitfalls along the way. Now, in today's episode, I'm totally thrilled to welcome Clay Moffat. Clay is a performance coach. He's an author, as well as being an expert in understanding the intricacies of trust as they exist within the context of relationships. He certainly has a unique perspective, which is shaped by, you know, his own personal journey, which includes navigating significant challenges with vision loss and with self-discovery. Now, Clayton, he's really dedicated his life in a major way in helping others really break free from the patterns that hold them back. I believe that his insights into psychology of trust and self-betrayal are really invaluable for anyone looking to lead a more audacious life. Clayton's relevance, today's episode, really lies deep in the understanding of the trust trap and the impact on our relationship. The work that he does, it emphasizes the importance of recognizing those biases that we all hold and taking radical responsibility for the choices that we make, which aligns perfectly, you know, with our goal of empowering our listeners to live audaciously. So it's a great conversation. We're insightful having Clayton here, and I'm certain you'll walk away with some great insights. So now we've got the table set. Let's turn to our chat with Clayton. Enjoy. Hey, Clay, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to be here. Thank you.
I absolutely appreciate you having the platform and giving me the time and the space to hopefully, as part of my mission, help transform some people and get them in a better direction than where they were.
Well, and that is the aim of this podcast, helping to awaken something, maybe an awareness in people, to have them understand that this best audacious life is achievable, and the things that we need to take, the steps that have to happen for us to get that life. We were just talking before we went live here, but you got your own very personal journey with unique challenges that have formed not only you as an individual, but the work that you do with other people. Maybe the starting point, Clay. I mean, if you can kind of introduce yourself to our audience and kind of give them a flavor of who you are and what you do and what's got you to the point that you're at now.
Sure. So I, for lack of a better word, a performance coach, a peak performance coach. When I moved to Thailand almost a decade ago, I was still working in oil and gas, and it just wasn't a fit for me anymore. I wanted something different. I wanted to get out of that kind of line of work, and kind of fell into coaching by default, purely because this whole journey that I'm on now never started with the desire to help anyone else. Just to be perfectly honest, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about how can I help myself?
Right.
I started reading books on persuasion and books on pickup and all these kind of things, because pickup guys really understood social engineering and psychology of relationships.
Gotcha.
So, okay, they've got some gold in there. I'm going to learn these language patterns or this trick, and it's going to get this person who said they're going to do this thing to actually do the thing and own up to it, right? And yeah, it fell flat on its face, man, because you can learn all the best techniques in the world, and if you're a douchebag, which I was, people still are not really going to want to help you out, you know? And it became this whole process that it took me a couple of years to realize, well, maybe if like I start changing and then I use these patterns, maybe then people actually want to start doing things. So the whole coaching shifted when I started to have it like this slapped in my face. This is working. This is not working. So I need to go down this path, because this is what's going to get results. And then as I kept diving into it and building momentum, I started realizing this actually feels really good. Like helping other people feels really good. So it's a purely selfish thing, right? Like I'm helping you because it makes me feel good. But it's also at the same time making you feel good and giving you a better quality of life. You're making more money, you're having better relationships, your sex life's going through the roof, you're improving your contracts in sports, like whatever it was that I was working with people, like they were getting results. And so I was like, this is fantastic. And then I started gaining traction. I was speaking at events in the US. My coaching was doing really well. I thought, you know what? Ego trip. Let me go and build this amazing app that's going to do everything.
Okay.
And so we went down a path to build this app. And so we're clear, like the parts that actually worked, the feedback I got was phenomenal by the pilot testers. It was really good. But I did not pay attention to things which I teach and I live and breathe now, and overruled things because I didn't understand the nuances that I do now with regards to trust and that kind of mechanism. And I ended up burning through $500,000 of my own money, which sucked. And at the same time, it torched my reputation because I was so focused on this app that I kind of neglected my coaching clients. And then I didn't deliver on the app. So my reputation has got torched both ways.
Gotcha.
So it imploded, and I kind of had to start rebuilding again. And then most recently, what's really accelerated was I've been blind in my left eye since 2010. I had 3 surgeries. The first surgery didn't work. The second surgery restored my vision. The third surgery took my vision away again. So that was not so great, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then in November last year, my vision just started getting really bad in my right eye, which is the only one that works at the moment. I was like, okay, And then it started getting so bad that I was legally blind by the end of December, start of January.
Oh, wow.
And no one could tell me what was the problem. They couldn't tell me what the cause was. They're throwing this out and then something else. And it could be something to do with the neurological side. Oh, no, it's more the refraction. And it was like circling. I was spending thousands and thousands of dollars flying to Bangkok, flying over here, going to hospitals. Just, yeah. And then
Wow.
we finally got some traction in February. And you're going to laugh when I tell you what it is. But they basically said, you have a cataract. And the only way through this is through surgery.
Okay.
Now, a cataract is a routine operation.
Right.
Almost everyone knows someone who's had a cataract and it's like perfectly fine.
I was gonna say that there's a special advanced form of cataracts that you had or something like. It is
So,
routine.
yeah, though that's what caused me to go blind in my left eye a decade ago. So,
Wow.
regardless of how routine it can be, I was very much aware that this could actually turn me blind completely. And so with that, once the surgery was booked, I thought, well, there might be a chance here where it's going to be very difficult for me to coach at all. And I've spent the better part of 15 years learning everything. So I decided, you know what? I have to write a book and publish it before I go into surgery. Otherwise, it's not going to be written the way I want it written. It's not going to be the way I want it to, like, built and the transformational journey. And
Yes.
the whole point of that book was to write it as like a one-stop thing. Like, obviously there was a chance I could go blind, so there was no upsell. So what's the point of putting an upsell in the book if I can't even coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I wanted to write an actual book, not a lead magazine, not something else. I wanted to write something that someone could read it and they go, you know what? I feel like I'm being coached through the process. And the feedback I've got from it has been amazing. People are like, hey man, it's like you're like talking in my ears. I'm like, perfect, I hit the nail. And that's really what's been built on. It's been built on how your neurology and your psychology work, not against you, which is what a lot of people think is like self-sabotage. I don't subscribe to that. What I do subscribe to is the fact that your brain, my brain, everyone's brain, every single person on the planet, their brain is lazy because that's how we survived. We conserved energy. And if you don't have to expend energy, that means you've got a better chance of survival. And so to break it down in the shortest way possible, because I'm rambling here, when you start looking at a person, you say, oh, Audley is trustworthy. And I put you in that frame. You're now in that frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. What that means is my brain can switch off. And when these red flags start popping up, which don't look like red flags because you're in this trustworthy bracket, brain's like, he'd never do that. No, trustworthy guy wouldn't do it. And then you go down this road and then you get screwed over in the end. You're like, how did I end up here, man? Like, how did I see this? You saw all the signs, man. All of them. And so I don't subscribe to betrayal unless you're talking about self-betrayal. Because there is not a single person that I've coached or that I've met that ever tells me I didn't see the red flags. And to go like right off the spectrum here, so we're clear, I'm not accusing or blaming anyone or saying it's anyone's fault, but to really get into the weeds here, even women and men that I've worked with that were molested as kids, even they said, yeah, I knew something was off. I knew something was off. Like, so we know what's going on. We know there's something up. But you get framed in this thing, and the neurology, like, it reinforces that. And so the whole purpose of the trust trap and what I do now with the coaching is to like break people through these patterns and allow them to see, okay, this is what's going on. This is the reality. Stop trusting who you thought they were supposed to be and start trusting what you're experiencing right now.
Right. And that's challenging for people sometimes to challenge their own thoughts and beliefs, especially what they invest and put into other people. And so you can see where that can backfire on you if you're not really, framing things appropriately. So this belongs here, this belongs there, as opposed to, putting someone in an environment they shouldn't be, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing of it is, people will start putting brackets in people because it's a default process that we're going to do, right? And then you've got like psychological biases like the halo effect, where so, George Clooney, he's a great actor and he treats his wife well, so that means he must be a great guy. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to put him in this political thing because obviously his beliefs are really good, so we're going to leverage it there. And that's why celebrities get brand endorsements because, oh, he's a really
Right.
good guy. I've seen him in this movie and he does this, so he must be great. So that watch must be good. And that's why all these biases start like pushing you in a direction. The thing I see that really arms you to the teeth and starts allowing you to use trust as a weapon instead of it being a weapon against you because your brain is lazy is understanding what's going on and being armed so that, okay, you see a cluster of behaviors, non-verbal behaviors, or you hear some language patterns that are very much indicating there is some sleight of mouth going on here, like they're trying to like evade things. The red flag comes up, you understand what that actually means, and now you don't rationalize it away because it's ammunition. And your brain's like, oh, we actually need to pay attention to this. We learned about this. And what happens is, I feel personally that there's no science to necessarily back what I'm about to say up, though for the most part, you look at the way the education system rolls out, we are very much taught to ignore our gut instincts. And depending on how a person's been brought up in life, if they've been brought up in a massively abusive household and relationships, their amygdala and their prefrontal cortex are constantly at war and they're getting triggered by things
Right.
consistently. So they're not really sure how to pass and how to figure out what is an actual red flag and what is just an overactive amygdala. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I can see where that conflict for people can drive them crazy, really, because you're not sure which
Yep.
decision to go and what to trust. I guess is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting because we talk about trust. And you know, and you'll have this is where I'll have to look to you for a bit of education here because I've always felt that trust is a feeling. Like it's something that you can actually feel, but you have a different take on that, is it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I will agree with you with the caveat that the trust is a feeling because it's a conscious and unconscious alignment that what they're saying and doing is matching up. And so you'll get that feeling. But trust is purely pattern recognition. You go, okay, I can trust this person. So you can trust this person now because what they're saying and what they're doing are aligned and they're moving together in the one direction. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And you can also trust that this person is potentially not telling the truth or may not have your best interest at heart because what they're saying, what they're doing are diverging.
Yes.
And so the pattern recognition becomes like the key difference here. And for me, if you were to give like a summary of what trust is in like a very short snap, it's a mutually beneficial outcome. And the simple example that I give to anyone I'm speaking to, if I'm speaking to a podcast, is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can trust that I am going to deliver as much value as possible to you and your audience because it's in my best interest to make sure that I get my message across and help these people break free. Just like I can trust that you want to host me because it's going to be beneficial for you and your audience to hear the message because you believe I've got something valuable. So that is a mutually beneficial outcome.
Gotcha.
If you didn't think that what I had to say mattered or was valuable, I could trust you're going to say, no, thank you, not right now.
Right. So
that's the simplest thing I could put it.
And therein lies the pattern piece that you talked about, right? Paying attention to the pattern. So really trust is I guess part of it would include being aware, having awareness to the evidence in front of you. Is that kind of an okay way of putting it?
I think that's a very accurate way of putting it. So there's always evidence going on.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are hyper vigilant because they are brought up to be, and some people are extremely aloof because they are brought up in a very safe environment. And they, as we say, like they look through the world with rose-colored glasses. And there's a process whereby in a world where you look through rose-colored glasses, red flags don't look red. Because if you see everything as good, then you'll just bypass it. And that's that frame that I was talking about. You've put this person in the frame. It's like, oh, they didn't do that, they're this person. But this pattern recognition starts coming up because you'll see deviations from their words and their actions.
Yes.
And you'll see deviations from how they were showing up to how they are showing up. So, for example, you could have, let's say, a founder two founders, founder, co-founder, whatever you want to call them. They're in their relationship. They're starting, they're building, they're working 80, 90 hours a week, right? They're
Mhm.
really going after it, really putting in tough hours, calls, travel, the
Yep.
work, you name it. And 3 years down the road, the business is like, it's building by itself. It's got over the inertia. Now the momentum's starting to take hold, and they don't have to work as hard, but they're still gunning it. Now we're at the 5 year mark, and one of the founders has been married for 18 months and just has a newborn. So his shift from his state for what he actually wants, he's now going more with belonging and connecting with his family because the company's kind of taking care of itself.
Right.
So he doesn't want to work as much. Now, a founder could say, well, like I feel like betrayed. You're not really showing up as much as doing this because he wasn't paying attention to the shift. And that there's so much that shifts, right? Context is king for absolutely everything. And context can be as simple as we are having this conversation, just the two of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
The context, if it was just the two of us in person in a room, it'd be a different context.
Gotcha.
Even though it's just the two of us, it's different because now we're like in each other's energy, and we kind of are now, right? But we're actually in each other's physical space.
Gotcha. I get what you're saying.
Right? And so that changes it. And then let's say it's just the two of us, but we're at a cafe and there's no one else around. And then someone else comes to the cafe. They sit on the other side of the cafe, nothing to do with us whatsoever. It will change the context. And what you're free to say and what I'm free to say might completely change.
Right. Right.
So context is absolutely king. And it changes very, very rapidly. And people seem to, by default, get locked into this is how it is, this is what's going to be here, and we're going to move forward. And this is everything, without paying attention to that, like everything has changed along the way.
Yes. And the reality is nothing stays the same way all the time, every time. Like there is going to be a natural evolution, a development, a change. And so I echo your comments on context. Actually, a first one you mentioned, a friend of mine, we get into these debates every so often because he's like, who cares about the context? This is motor through, right? And I'm like, no, I want to know. And so we butt heads sometimes on that. But yeah, it is important for sure. So context does matter.
Yes, sir. 100%. So let's take it out another frame, right? So I've been training in hypnosis for over a decade now. It's one of a very, very fantastic tool. Me doing hypnosis and taking someone through a therapy session, a private one-to-one versus in front of a group, is two very different things. I'm doing the exact same process, but what I say is going to be different. How I approach them is going to be different. The energy, the way I control the room is going to be different. It's going to be very, very different, but it's technically same process, right? But it's not, because the context has changed, so how I need to perform it has changed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And again, look, I'm a context guy, so you don't got to convert me, man. I know how important that is. I get it. I want to talk about the book, The Trust Trap. Explain the title. I think it's a wonderful title. I wonder if you can explain it. What you're trying to get people to understand.
So the trust trap is very simple. We, as people that speak English, I can't argue for any other language, but by default, based on neurology and neuroscience, I'd say others fall into the same thing. We create this trap for ourselves to be blindsided, to be hurt, to create these delusions that this person that we're interacting with is a trustworthy person. So we're clear. I am not coming from this cynical, horrible view that everyone's like out to get you. They're going to screw you over. They've got a plan when they wake up in the morning to destroy you. That's not my point. My point is that everyone is out for themselves. And that's not a negative thing. That doesn't mean just because I'm looking out for my best interest that I'm going to try and purposely screw you over from getting yours. It just means looking out for me and you're looking out for you. And the looking out for comes down to our values. And our values shift depending on our state. So, for example, if you're in a self-esteem state or self-actualization with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, then you're probably going to be more inclusive of other people with the things that you're going through. But if you were to disappear and say, come to a developed country like Thailand, a developing country like Thailand, or go to Africa, for example, and you see the people there that are struggling and they're living day by day, the way they look at money is very different. They're not looking at, okay, I'm going to build a relationship with this person because it might pay off in years to come.
Right.
They're looking, how can I extract as much money out of this person right now? Because I need to know that I'm going to be able to put food on my table tomorrow. And so you start being able to see through these different lenses and start being able to negotiate and understand that this way that we start expressing and looking at trust is a trap that is going to start to, for lack of a better word, snap on you like a bear trap and pull you in and not let you go. It's going to snare you. It's going to keep you stuck because of this Disney fairy tale version of trust that was sold. That, oh, everything's going to work out because this is a trustworthy person. So if you want to go to like Eduardo Saverin and Mark Zuckerberg, so if you read the book about that, or which then got turned into the movie The Social Network, right?
Yep.
It's basically Eduardo Saverin's account. But if you look at it from his lens, and let's say you take that as true, I'm not saying it is, but let's pretend that it is for this argument, right? He went into business looking at it was a business partnership with his friend.
Right.
Zuckerberg went in there with an idea to run a business and make money.
Right.
And so there's this massive deviation there because Saverin's looking at things through the lens of a friend. So a friend would never do that to me in business. Zuckerberg's looking at this as a business. Let's make the business as best as possible. And so there became this massive deviation because their starting point was completely wrong.
Too different. Right.
Yes, sir. So they might have had the same value. We want to make a business that changes the world. And so like, oh, we want the exact same thing. But how they're going to do it's completely different. The biggest thing that I use for explaining this is when I used to work with a lot of couples. I don't do that much anymore, but I would ask them, what does trust mean to you in a relationship? I'd send them out of the room, get them to do it one by one and write it down in their handwriting so they knew that I wasn't making it up. And they give me an example of how you know that you can trust your partner. And almost without fail, the woman would say, well, when he goes out, he calls me, he lets me know where he is, he lets me know that he's safe, he lets me know he's having a good time, and he keeps me updated when he's going to be home.
Right.
Okay, cool. And then she goes out, the guy comes in, like, okay, how do you know that you have trust relationship? Oh man, when I go out, she doesn't call me, she doesn't bother me, she lets me go do my own thing. Like they're completely different, man, like complete opposites. And they wonder why, like, oh, but we both want trust in a relationship. Yeah, but trust means completely different things to you. Like it's complete polar opposite. And so that is the trust trap. The trust trap is that people put themselves in these predicaments thinking that the surface level stuff that they say that they want and they're aligned in is actually going to get them what they want. But on the deeper structure, they're completely out of line and it just destroys relationships.
And so it's interesting that you also spend time educating people about betrayal, because I can see how that's a natural, the two are linked to one another when you talk about trust and then betrayal. I wonder if you could sort of talk about the work in the betrayal, how you educate people.
So I actually start the book off with betrayal.
Okay.
Because I don't think betrayal exists, as I said to you just before. I think it can't exist. And then there's this famous quote. I don't know how famous it is, but it's anonymous, and I've seen it on multiple blogs all over the internet, so it must be somewhat famous, or people just post it on the same blog. And it says, you can notice how betrayal never happens from someone you dislike or someone you don't know. Like, well, of course. Like, how could you be betrayed by someone you never trusted in the first place? You don't trust every random person you've never met.
True.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, cool, yeah, fair enough. So betrayal can actually only happen. But betrayal only happens because people miss these red flags and they write it off. It was hilarious. A good friend of mine who I went to school with is the managing director of a company over in Australia. And he was a client of mine many years ago. He got a hold of the book and he sent me a message the other day. He's like, man, like, I hate you so much right now. I'm like, why? He's like, this book would have come in handy like 12 months ago and it would have saved our company hundreds of thousands of dollars because there was a massive separation. And I clocked it at the time, but I didn't know what it was. I couldn't put my name on it. But now, like, it's just so clear what was going on. And I could have stopped it from happening. I'm like, awesome. Well, now you can stop it from happening the next time. So that's good. Like, this is a positive thing. But the whole element, if you believe in betrayal, then to me, you believe that you're a victim. And if you believe that you're a victim, then you have zero control on the outcome, and you have given away all of your power to someone else.
Mm.
And if you're comfortable doing that, continue believing in betrayal. But if you don't want someone else to have all the power and you do want to reclaim it, then what I offer is a frame where you look at it and start to see, okay, hand on your heart, do you honestly see that you had a part to play? Do you honestly see that there were warning signs, but you ignored them? Do you honestly put up that there were absolute red flags and you're like, oh, it can't be because you put this frame around this person and this person would never, ever do that to me? And if you can say, no, that never happened, like reach out and get in touch with me because I want to speak to you. Because literally every single person I know has always said, you know what? Yeah, looking back, yeah, I can see all these red flags. And I didn't know what they meant. Or I couldn't really put it in this. Or I thought they wouldn't do it to me. I thought, yeah, they've done it to other people, but they're not going to do it to me. Like, have you ever met someone that says that? Like, yeah, like they've done plenty of stuff to other people, but it's no,
Not
like,
me.
we're tight. No, it's not going to happen. No. And then bang, like, oh, they did it to me. Like, are you serious? Like, yeah, man, I'm serious because you weren't watching the facts.
And is that how, when you say much of a betrayal, we're doing it to ourselves? Is that what that is? We're not seeing the flags, we're not seeing the signs, the markers. We're just pummeling forward.
Yeah, and a little bit more than that.
Okay.
So your brain will naturally start to respond and create reality based on the way it predicts things are going to happen. Your neurons are going to predict things before you start thinking. And so it's going to shape the way you're interpreting things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got this frame, this person is good, then your neurons are going to start looking automatically for how this person is good. Even though there's things coming up and ticking off, it's like, oh no, there's a red flag. There's a red flag. Your neurons are like, they're trustworthy. They're honest. Look at the past. The past has shown they're honest all the time. This is just a small thing. And this is where the betrayal happens. People often, from my experience, get so caught up in having a real conversation with someone because uncomfortable and saying, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what's going on. This is how you used to show up. This is how you're showing up now. There's a difference. Let's have a talk. And instead of having that, which is a very uncomfortable and awkward conversation for people to have, they just ignore it. And that's the self-betrayal. The betrayal is, what's that thing they say at airports? If you see something, say something.
Gotcha.
Right? It's the same deal. But people don't want to, like, oh, no, I better not, because like I might upset the apple cart. Say it, man. Say it. Because better you upset the apple cart. If the relationship is that fragile that you can't have an honest conversation with someone,
Right.
is it really worth having the relationship in the end anyway?
It's a fantastic question. I love that. And it's a thing that I think a piece that more of us really should be honest with ourselves to analyze that piece. Like, why am I afraid to have that difficult conversation? Like, there's sometimes if you dig deep, there's an underlying issue there. Yeah.
A lot of the times,
Yeah.
that's got to do with self-worth.
Yeah.
A massive fear of rejection. They feel like they're going to get rejected. They feel like they're going to get alienated. And there could be some social death or some social consequences that are going to come along with it. And the fear of that, like if you go back from the evolutionary standpoint, getting ejected from the tribe, getting ostracized, dude, that meant death.
Yeah.
And so now it's more of a social death. You get kicked out of your circle, you're by yourself. That can still be pretty debilitating for a lot of people.
Gotcha. Let's talk about radical responsibility. And maybe as a starting point, what it is, and then how can it help people?
So this is a concept that has been drummed into my head since I was knee high.
Okay.
Right? Owning everything that you do. And there are obviously times in my life where I would say that I definitely did not own everything that I did. Like, I'm not perfect. I've definitely made a lot of mistakes. But what I found is the more you can open up and the more you can connect and fully own what you do, And no matter what the situation, no matter how bad it is, no matter how much someone's hurt you, screwed you over, betrayed you, whatever frame you want to throw at it, look and see what you contributed to the situation. There's always going to be some element, even if it's like 0.1%.
Right.
You need to own that part because it contributed. Even if you did everything right and the only thing you did was not respond to a text message, and this person was feeling open and vulnerable and whatnot, you need to own that part. You're like, oh, well, that's on them. Yes, the majority of it is on them. And a relationship is not a single-sided thing. It takes two people to have a relationship with, not even two people, two things. You've got a relationship with your dog, you've probably got a relationship with your car. There's a relationship with everything. Now, inanimate objects are slightly different. I get it. At the same time, a relationship is how one thing is relating to something else. And that's the other thing where people kind of get messed up. They lose track. And this is also ties back into the trust trap. They lose track and like, okay, it's this permanence. So I can trust you. So now you're in the trust box. So that is a permanent fixture. But trust is the process of trusting. And how do I want to be trusting this person now? That's the only thing that matters. Not how do I want to be trusting them in the past, not how do I want to be trusting them in the future, right now. And that's the whole thing with relationships too. So how do I want to be relating to this person now? And diving in from there and then moving forward.
And yeah, I do, again, I like the emphasis on the right now is important. So it's interesting because the context still matters, right? The context still is important, but what now is it's the most critical to the whole thing, right? What's happening now?
Well, right now is the only context that exists. Right? And if you go back and look at everything, this is why therapy and hypnosis and CBT, mushrooms, psychedelics, all these things work. Because that works on our subjective view of our experiences that we've had.
Okay.
And so that's all we've got to go off. We do not experience anything objectively at all, no matter what anyone tells you. And if they do, then they're full of it. Because we're always going to have frames. And those frames are going to be cemented in by our parents, cemented in by social norms, cemented in by how we've grown up, in the frames that are surrounded by society, and they will get projected. So I believe it was don't quote me on the year, but it was around about 3 or 4 years ago that they started to allow women in Saudi Arabia to drive. They gave them the right to drive.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So in the Western world, we say, well, that's ridiculous. You should have to do that. That's their culture. That's perfectly normal to them. So are they wrong or we wrong? And we can say that they're wrong, and they can also say that we're wrong. We don't get anywhere because it's two different sides and two different points of view. And so when you start looking at and breaking down these points of views and these contexts, okay, yeah, they haven't had rights for that long. Do they have it now? Yes, they do. Okay, let's focus on that. Okay, this person hasn't had this. Okay, do you have it now? Yes, let's focus on that. Okay, I wasn't a millionaire before, but I am now. Let's focus on that. Let's not focus on the time that I wasn't a millionaire. Let's focus on what I've achieved now. Okay, I was a douchebag for 25 years of my life. Fantastic. Is it doing me any good to keep going back and reliving that? No. Let's say you were a college level football player or basketball player, or you were a college level chess player. I don't do they have college level chess players? I'm assuming they do.
Yeah.
Let's pretend they do, right? Okay. It doesn't matter. Like, or you graduated with a 4.0 GPA. Wonderful. That's back then. What are you doing now?
That's a question.
Like, it's irrelevant, right? Fantastic, you got that. But if you're living off that, that's fantastic. That's old news. That's not what's driving you now. That's not what's inspiring you now. What's inspiring you now is where you're going. So you need to be in the best spot right now. And that's why the only context to me that matters is right now.
And I think that's it's incredible focus. It really, when we focus on the right now, not what happened before, not who said what before, or what frame of mind you're in before. It's what you do now. Now, all the before stuff, where they have values, they teach you lessons, right? And they inform your actions. They give you insights. They give you experiences. So you take from those things to help inform what you do right now. But right now is still what matters the most.
you can do that, and that's a good way to go. The other way to go is to base it off of first principles thinking and boil it down to the very nuts and bolts of what's going on. So learning from experience is great, and experience can also be short-sighted in the way that it teaches you. But when you start boiling it down to first principles and off experience, then you're on like a really winning combination to start moving the needle.
Got it. Additionally, we talk about radical responsibility and how the importance of taking responsibility for everything in your life. How that fits nicely and frames with this podcast that really focuses on audacious living and taking responsibility for each action that you take, taking those bold risks, taking those chances, taking those leaps, if you will. So I definitely see a correlation. And I also see the connections to audacious living is around these patterns that you talked about earlier. These patterns are toxic, the ones that we take on, and how breaking those down can also support this living this best audacious life that we talk about. So there definitely is a connection for sure.
So the way I see it, you're going to struggle, not you, right? You in the general sense, so we're clear. This isn't an attack.
I have my days.
People are going to struggle
if
they fail to see patterns and life for what's really happening. People are going to struggle to get out, to break free, to have the life that they truly want if they keep limiting themselves because their neurology is framing things as a fixed asset. And it's done that based on how we used to have to survive, which is what your nervous system is built for. No one on this planet is built to thrive. Not a single person. Our nervous system evolved to survive. End of story. We have thrived because of how our cognitive load has increased and our cognitive awareness and our language and our skills and our tool making has advanced. And it's started to advance at an exponential rate to a point where it's actually becoming detrimental to how slow we have evolved. It's kind of funny. It's like it's catch-22. But the patterns, the mechanisms, the things at play that got us to this point are still there because your brain, my brain, everyone's brain doesn't upgrade like Mac OS or Windows or Linux or whatever operating system you're using, right? It doesn't do that. It takes time. And while you can upgrade belief systems, while you can upgrade certain elements, there are going to be cognitive biases at play. There's going to be the way that your neurology starts to focus and trap things and move things and guide things. And having an understanding of this, having a recognition of how it impacts you, gives you the opportunity to be able to set yourself free. It won't set you free. Just having it will not set you free. But it gives you a wedge to put into the door, to keep the door open, to allow you to escape from that prison.
Nice. I love that. It's a great analogy, by the way, like, coming out of a prison and living a free life. It's a great way of putting it. Clayton, for listeners that wanted to connect with you, learn more about your work, where can we send them?
Best place would be for the work is the book website, which is trusttrapbook.com, or I'm quite active on X, considering I started an account a week ago, and that's just at Moffat Clay. Okay. Like I said before we started, I had no interest in fame, so I didn't want to put my name out there, but now I've realized it's a catch-22. I have to be out there to be able to get the book to people so people can read and change, so.
For sure. Right. That's a great strategy. Like I said, off the top, we're going to do our part to make sure that people have access to the book as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Appreciate you for the insights. Congratulations on all the great work. And again, thanks for being a guest on the Audacious Living Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Back we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes out to Clay for being here. During our chat, he shared profound insights about the nature of trust and how biases can lead into self-betrayal. He emphasized that betrayal often stems from ignoring those red flags that are presented to us, and that we must take radical responsibility for our role in a relationship. As he put it, if you want to reclaim your power, you must first acknowledge your contribution to the dynamics at play. What I personally loved about the interview with Clayton's ability was to distill these complex psychological concepts, into relatable and actionable advice. His passion for helping others understand their patterns and make empowered choices definitely shines through. For listeners, I want to encourage you to connect with Clayton directly to explore more of his work as well as his insights, because he's got a lot of great stuff to share. Of course, you can find his contact details and links in the show notes below. So we got you here. So don't hesitate to reach out to him. As an FYI, Clayton is also offering a special promotion exclusively for the listeners of the Audacious Living Podcast. So be sure to check out his book as well. The Trust Trap, we talked about that. Of course, that's available on his website, and it provides much more deeper insights into the concepts that we discussed today. We just scratched the surface. His book will take you in a much deeper journey. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us on this edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. If you've enjoyed the conversation, certainly please take a moment to like, follow, subscribe, and share if you haven't already done so. Of course, this is how we continue to grow the podcast and helps us reach even more individuals and really look to continue. We want to grow and inspire others to live their best audacious lives. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.